Hello, Stephanie Zima here, My Way of Life Coaching. And today I want to talk to you about the fact that you were not born to shrink. Why playing small will cost you everything. Before I start, though, if you are new to me, I am Stephanie Zima, the founder of the Walk It Free mentorship program, where I help women heal, connect, and level up any area of their life, so to speak. But I love talking to online entrepreneurs or anyone who is growth oriented and who wants to build a business, possibly succeed in sales. Those kind of women I love, because we all know that we need to have some extra kind of courage. We need to have some extra kind of oomph to be able to, show up in life the way how we want to. But any ambitious woman that wants to have a better life is my kind of girl. Okay. So having said that, if you have ever silenced yourself, if you have ever realized that you actually had more to say, but you're not saying it, if you have ever played smaller than you think you could have, maybe you acted a little bit hesitant in a sales setting versus what you're bringing to the table and showing up in your full force. If you dimmed your light just a little bit to make other people comfortable, then this video is for you, okay? And you want to click the subscribe button right now. You want to follow me. You want to, comment below, say hello, get into my era, because here's the thing. I am so crazy passionate about helping a woman come back to herself, to her full ability to be in her power, in her abilities to do and create and do all the things she wants to do, that you want to stick around. Okay. So first and foremost, why do we do that? Why do we downplay ourselves? Well, we need to do it often to keep ourselves safe. You wonder sometimes, what do I help people heal, right? And that is kind of the things that I help people heal. We have patterns that we have adopted when we were a child. And sometimes these patterns are not necessarily conscious, because they may have happened in a nonverbal state. So you may have been so little that you didn't have words for it, but you have recognized that when you kind of stayed quiet, when you knew but you were seen but not heard, that you would get better feedback from the people in your surrounding field, like your parents or anybody like that. You would be having a better feedback from them. So if that had been the case, for example, you have learned to behave in a certain way. Or children right now in the school setting, and these kids are learning a certain pattern, that if they're quiet, if they're working, if they're compliant, then they are going to win, right? Win a pajama day, win maybe something else like a candy bar or something, right? So these are patterns that are being taught by our surroundings, that are contributing to us showing up smaller than we think we should be. Okay. If you, for example, had been a child, like that happened to me, right? I was this loud child who was always having crazy ideas. I wanted to put on plays. I wanted to ask people. I was like very creative and very big and large in my personality. And that wasn't always comfortable for everybody around me, and they didn't have time. They were very busy, and so they didn't want me to do all these things, not because they didn't love me, not because they didn't, like, this is not to blame anyone, but it's just, it didn't fit into their patterns of life. But when I was a child, I recognized really quickly, like, being loud was not something that was appreciated or wanted. So therefore, it was not safe. Okay, I've recognized it wasn't safe to be loud. It wasn't safe to be me. It wasn't safe to shine the bright light at me and say, here I am. This is what I've got. This is what I'm doing. So when you have been conditioned that way to play yourself down, that could be the pattern. Okay, so ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped shrinking? Ask yourself the question right now. Drop it in the comments. What would happen if you would stop shrinking? The cost of playing small is huge. Okay? The cost of playing small is huge. You lose opportunities. You're going to have regret. You're staying stuck in unfulfilling situations. You maybe yeah, you maybe are never going to win because you're not allowing yourself to win. Okay. That could very much happen. And that would be a really big problem, right? Would you agree? That would be a really big problem. So, one of the things you need to learn is how to take that power back. How to, and this is the connecting part, right? How do you get this back? How do you start shining the light on you? And how do you stay comfortable while doing it? Because, this old pattern has been there so long that it's really uncomfortable to start getting back into who you were authentically, who you were originally, getting back there. I mean, it sounds like easy, right? You should be able to easily do that, but it's not. It's not, because your brain had learned that it's hard and that it's painful if you do. So relearning, rewiring your brain and relearning to do it is actually going to take some effort. That's why my mentorship program, for example, is 12 weeks long. So we can become aware of the old pattern, that we can put in place who we are, connect with who we were, who we wanted to be, how we want to show up, what our brand is, and then eventually go back to how on earth are we going to make that actually happen? How do we bring this to life? How do we figure out what that vision is that we have, and how do we bring this to life? That is what it's all about. Okay, that's what it's all about in making that happen. This is where you start shifting. This is where you start shifting into owning your space, where you take up actual space, where you breathe in air that makes you you and that allows you to be there. So you can imagine that when you want to do that, you need to have self-acceptance. You need to say yes, yes, and yes, and yes. You need to have internal validation. You're no longer seeking external validation. I've talked about this yesterday in the video. If you didn't catch it, go into the video before. You need to have learned how to be okay with yourself, right? You cannot be okay with everybody else if you're not okay with yourself. You got to know exactly that what you stand for is what you want to reach. And many of you may not really know. And it develops over time. I tell you, your brand will develop over time. Your mission, your vision, what you want to achieve in life will develop over time. And that is totally okay. You can take small steps and you figure it out. That's why my mentorship program is every 12 weeks, okay? Because we're going to try things on for 12 weeks. We're going to stay one course for 12 weeks. Then we can renew and we can tweak. And we can say, well, these 12 weeks did not, I didn't, like, for example, if you have a vision that you always wanted to go whitewater rafting, and then you start kayaking and you start realizing, like, oh, this is really hard. Like, I have to do all the things. It's really hard. Whitewater rafting may not be your answer. Maybe you wanted to do something other than that, right? But you would have not known if you would have not taken the first step. If you would not enjoy the water in a kayak, you might not even want to go into a float onto the whitewater raft, right? Or if you're scared of water, period, you might not want to do that at all. So you kind of have to dip your toes in, and you have to start somewhere, and then you can kind of try it on for size and see how it feels and how it goes and all that stuff. So that's really important. Now, I want to ask you, what is it that you are stopping yourself from? Where are you shrinking? Is it your business? Is it your family? Is it your job? Is it your life overall? Is it your health and wellness? Where are you not showing up? I tell you, my CrossFit journey, for example, is bringing out all the different aspects of me, right? I've been shrinking myself quite a bit because I didn't want to feel the pain of the uncomfortable, of the not good enough, right? That was so threatening to me, the fact that I really may have not been so great. And I've been told you're not that great for so many years, trying to shrink my personality to get me to be less out there, okay? But it wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It was because my surroundings couldn't handle me. And, so it was kind of like they put me down all the time. So I started realizing, oh, I wasn't good enough. That was a thought that I adopted into my brain I wasn't good enough. I'm not supposed to be so loud. I'm like not fitting in here. I'm supposed to be isolated, and isolation was not good. So I tried to people please and like do all the things just to be accepted until I learned and healed that part. Okay. And even then, I started cutting out people out of my life, and I started realizing, like, you're not aligned with who I am and what I want to do, and you are not aligned with who I am and what I want to do, and you are not aligned. And so these people, I love them from afar, okay? But I can't have them close to me because I don't want to stay in that small, dim light section. I want to be able to shine again. I want to be able to bring people with me, and I can only do that if I'm all of me, right? All of me is all what's required because I have gifts inside of myself, and I'm ready to give them away. I'm ready to help others to level up also. I've leveled up, I healed, and I connected, and I level up, and I do it over and over and over again every 12 weeks at a time. I do it, I walk it free every 12 weeks. Every 12 weeks, I have a new goal, and that's what you should be doing. And every 12 weeks, you're starting to put a new plan in and you figure it out. And maybe you have to realize that you maybe have the same plan 2 times or 3 times or even 4 times, depending on how much healing there is and how much leveling up there is. But having a system to bring yourself back to life, to bring that power back to you, the power that was stolen from you sometime, that joy that was stolen from you, that passion that was stolen from you, to bring that back to life is essential. Okay, it's essential that you do that. So if that has resonated with you, please do me a favor, drop your comments in the drop your takeaways in the comments. I would love to know what spoke to you on this video, and I would love for you to subscribe, and I would love for you to say hello, and let's walk it free together.